welcome to the promo for Always Digging. My name is Jeff Skull, aka DJ Scully Funk. Every Sunday afternoon, my partner Gary, aka DJ Gaza Taylor, and I choose a theme and play our favorite songs that fit that theme. Tune in right here every Sunday from noon to 2 on iLive Radio.
Every Friday, take a trip around the world with music from around the globe. Colors of Rhythm with your host DJ Ron John. Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on iLive Radio, iliveradio.com.
Hey, what's going on, everybody in cyberspace? This is The Groove Show with your boy, the crowd pleaser, DJ Mark Anthony. Don't forget, each and every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m., we want to put you in the mood for whatever the night has in store. I'm playing only the best feel-good party rocking, body-shaking music from funk to soul to reggae to R&B, house to salsa, and much, much more. We call it The Groove each and every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked. It's the crowd pleaser, baby. You know how we do. We'll see you on the air. Peace, peace, peace.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. The Collective Music Nation. One voice, strength in unity.
Nothing makes you look, feel, and perform better than a tailor-made suit. Just like a tailor-made suit, a mortgage is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions will customize a mortgage to perfectly suit your needs. Come and get fitted for your mortgage today at 1-877-834-9346 or reach us on the web at ctmortgagesolutions.com. COVID safety protocols are in place. Brokerage license number 13228.
The number one hit music station.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
I can't tell you how much I miss this feeling. I was getting tired of the leaves falling. Lost myself in the cold of the winter. Now that I'm here with you, I feel so much better.
When the sun hits the sky and it lights up my day, you know it makes me feel so. Birds singing sweet melodies wakes me up from my dreams. I'm ready to know what it's like outside.
Good evening, everybody.
Walking through the woods, looking for something.
Welcome to this week's Sound Table.
Make memories that will last forever in our hearts and in our minds.
Hope you all had a great week. This is episode 2.
Lost in your eyes, look into the sky and watch the
So we're streaming live on YouTube.
goes down. The dusk can come
Experiment with the Facebook Live, with the talk shows I've got running through there as well.
in between dusk and dawn. When
And of course on our platforms,
it's warm, the moon in the sky.
to.iliveradio.com, as well as on the mobile app and tune in.
The silence feels good. You make me feel.
Shouts out to Gina P. I don't know why you're over there in the YouTube, because you're supposed to be here as a guest. Anyway, tonight our guest is Miss Gina P and Miss Quisha Wint. They're supposed to join us for the live chat. Let us know if that link I sent you is working.
For a way out. I know you wanna lay by the water and swim deep. Let's bring out the special memories. Pour a glass of passion fruit juice
So tonight's show,
from the heat of the sun. I want to smile so big and laugh.
we're going to be talking to two artists that are,
Make this last forever.
how should we say, they're artists and event promoters. And they also just became associated or on board of directors for an organisation called the Collective Music Nation. You will hear their ads running on our live radio platform. It's been running for a while. Big shouts out to Tim Frey. So he's talking about a number of things, a bunch of things. That's going to be some good, some controversial. You know me. Don't pull any punches, isn't that right, Mr. Morris? That's right, sir. Don't pull any punches. So we've got Gina connected. So let's fade out this one. This song below me right now is one of the tracks off of our album of the week by a group of artists out in East Toronto called the Sister Sound System. Shouts out to Dynasty who put that together. So don't forget to check out the album of the week. I think the next time it's running is on Thursday at 4 p.m. EST right here on iLive Radio. Okay, so let's see if we can get Gina P up on this. Let's see. Miss Gina P, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, let's get you turned up.
Good evening.
Good evening. Where's your partner in crime?
Well, we don't live together, so she'll connect in a second.
Is that right?
You know I'm an early bird.
Really? Actually, you're bang on time, I have to say.
Thank you.
Breaking the, I'm about to say it's breaking the stereotypes, but you're not breaking the stereotype, really, are you?
I'm really not.
You're really not.
But I'm flattered by being included in the stereotype momentarily.
You had a stereotype moment. All right, cool. All right, so welcome to the Sounds Table, Gina. Basically, how this is going to work is this: we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation about yourself. We're going to have a conversation. Oh, Quisha's right here. Oh,
See?
there
Yeah,
you go.
I'm just listening.
Just listening. Just chilling in the cut, as they say.
Chilling.
In the cut. We also have Miss Quisha Wint on the call. Let me just take my mic down. It's a little bit hot. Miss Quisha Wint on the call. So she is also a very prolific artist in the live music circuit out here. I understand you're going to be releasing a record soon, right?
Yes, I'm releasing a single tomorrow.
Okay, well, we will definitely talk about that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll show you how the sound table works. So basically, I'm the protagonist, stroke host. Occasionally, we have Patrick Morris in the studio from Black Habits, and he occasionally pipes in and says something, not very often, but he usually says something insightful. I'm really going to delve into a little bit into your careers and what you're doing and what you've been doing and how you've been handling this whole COVID situation, because I know you both are very much on the live music circuit. And a lot about, the role of women inside the industry and in terms of events and et cetera, and going, what's the go-forward plan for artists like yourself with the situation not looking like it's going to change anytime soon. Does that sound reasonable?
Absolutely.
And I will throw in some bits and pieces just to throw you off a little bit. So let's start with Miss Gina P. Since she was the first one to arrive. Let's stop the room.
Oh gosh.
All right. Let's say there's no cultural bias here.
Oh jeez.
You know the head's going to go down, Gina. Like, come on. All right. So, Gina, tell us a little bit about yourself. Gina, where are you from originally?
So originally I'm from Sarnia, which is across from Michigan, for those who don't know. So I grew up fully on Detroit radio.
Okay. And that's it, Sarnia?
That's it, Sarnia.
Wow.
Spent some time in between there and here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here for 10 years now, so I guess I'm a Torontonian now.
No, see, you've been here less time than I have.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a Torontonian yet.
That's right, but I'm not fighting it.
Ah. I don't know how to take that comment. I don't know how to take that. You should really be battling it like myself. Okay, so Quisha Wint.
Yes.
Infamous in the city, obviously, but obviously we have a broader audience that goes outside of Toronto. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a company called QW Productions that started in 2014 with our first show called The Power of Love, celebrating the life and music of Luther Vandross. And from there, we started to celebrate other artists while promoting Toronto artists. I'm also the founder of Canadian Black Entertainment.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Okay.
And our mission is to create, celebrate, and promote Black artistry. Just pretty much showing love to our artists. And I am now the vice president of Collective Music Nation, which is a not-for-profit organization that will have resources for Black artists and that is a whole nother ball game to talk about one day.
Oh no, we're going to address some of that today.
Oh, we're address some of that.
Believe
Okay.
me, we are going to address some of that today.
Yeah. So I grew up in a Jamaican household. I've lived in Toronto all my life. I love music. I've been on the scene since I was about, I think, 18 years old. And now I'm 20.
You see, I would have gone
I
for
age very well.
Yeah, obviously, Quisha. I could see. So how do you pronounce your name? Is it Quisha?
Quisha. There are some people that will say Quisha.
Okay.
Out of love. It's not my favorite, but I don't get upset. It's not like they're calling me something that's terrible.
Okay, got it. All right, so thank you for giving our audience a little bit about your background and where you're from and what you guys do. So I know you both are very active on the live music circuit. So let's talk COVID. Like, what has COVID meant for both of you? Let's start with Gina.
All right. Well, I guess for us, even Quisha and I had some shows planned for the last year. So what that means for live music for us, and just I'll backtrack 1 second, because beyond where I'm from, I'm also a co-owner and producer of Orange Moon Entertainment that I have with Lisa Michelle, another Toronto famous singer. And we've been collaborating with Quisha for the last 2 or 3 years, actually, on some co-productions. And we had some shows scheduled for 2020 with Quisha, as well as our own. So we were trying some new venues, and what it meant was all of that is wiped out. So we've been spending the year trying to look for other virtual opportunities, and we've been setting ourselves up to create some opportunities that way. I like to do some online offerings and some other creative things that we're actually about to launch in the next week or so. So that's what it's meant for us, just trying to stay abreast of how the industry is evolving.
And evolve, it definitely has, or devolve, depending on how you look at it, right? What about yourself, Quisha? Is it the same similar story, or have you got anything to add on top?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all the gigs were shut down. It was difficult to get through it, especially when you are used to being on a stage, being around people. I am an extrovert. So being around people brings me joy. So in the summer, when the lockdown, started to lift and people were allowed to gather, about like 10 people, I think it was, my band and I came back together and we decided, you know what, let's start playing some music. So we met up in July, and let me tell you, none of us had any stamina. We were exhausted after we played for 5 hours. And then we decided, let's get together every week or every other week, and let's just try and get through some new material, perhaps, just, get ourselves ready for when the world comes back to normal. And that helped us launch off QW Fam Jams, where we would play some music and videotape us performing it, and then we put it up on our social media pages, and people would watch and donate money. And we also brought Orange Moon Entertainment in on our last one in November. It's still on our QW Productions page and also on our QW Productions YouTube channel, so please feel free to check it out. So it's all about reinventing. It's been difficult, but we've also written some new music during this time, because usually we'd be all working, we wouldn't be able to get together. So we found a positive in this pandemic by writing new music. And tomorrow we are releasing one of those songs that we wrote.
Okay. So I have one question to you, Quisha. Like, why don't we have a copy of your music already?
Well, because what we're doing is tomorrow is a video launch of the song.
So,
And then we were going to...
Are you saying that radio is now not relevant for song releases?
No, you know what? I am so kind of, I hate to say this, new to this whole radio thing. I've never had a PR person. I've done everything all indie, all by myself.
Right.
So when I released my first album ever, which was in 2012, I never really meant for it to reach radio or anything. It was just something I wanted to do, a project. I even did a CD release concert at the AGO and filled up pretty much every seat in the auditorium that we had. And it was radio stations that came to me. So I'm still trying to learn how to get the music out to radio stations. But for you, Jason, I will definitely send you a copy.
Damn right you will send me a copy. What the hell? Like, you do understand what iLife stands for, right? We
Yes.
rock Canadian music.
It's really difficult to do things on your own. So I'm glad that you're mentioning it to me now and putting me on blast for the world too.
I'm going to put you on blast for the whole world. Listen. I'm going to put you on
You sure did.
I'm going to put you on blast for the whole world. You hear that? You hear that in the background?
You sure did.
Funny.
Oh, well, that's excellent. That's excellent. And there's a couple of key things that you said in your soliloquies was I said soliloquy.
Soliloquy. You hear that guy?
That you found a way to stay active and do something that you probably wouldn't have done if you were actively doing live shows, right? Because I know you're very prolific, right? So in terms of the live shows, you're all over the place. You tour everywhere. You perform everywhere, both of you. So, taking advantage of this time to kind of reinvent yourself in terms of how you're presenting your music out to your audience by going online with a fam jam, etc. But additionally, working on your own material as an artist, which is fantastic because that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. And you know what? Before the pandemic, let me just give you a little brief rundown. The year before, I had a bunch of music festivals that I was headlining in, doing shows with Orange Moon Entertainment, and we also did a show with Dwayne Morgan up from the Roots, which was a phenomenal show early on in 2020. And I also was a backup singer for Johnny Reid, and we did an across Canada tour back in November into December. So I was coming off a big year, and then all of a sudden everything just shut down. And that did something to me mentally. And because it did something to me mentally, I think there was a lot of things that were building up throughout the pandemic, being, in isolation, not being able to see family, not being able to play. You felt like you were in prison in a sense. And then you see the murder of George Floyd. And that was the catalyst that broke my emotional dam, and it landed me in the hospital.
Wow.
I was very stressed, a lot of anxiety, and they kept me admitted. They actually thought I had a heart attack. This whole situation, all the stuff that happened in my life drove me to be creative, because there is therapy in that. Being able to do something that you love, write down lyrics, and put it in a song that's like 5 minutes long to illustrate what's been going on in your life and what's been going on in your head is very therapeutic. And I hope that my songs help others in the same situation.
No, absolutely. I think, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I would never have guessed, but you hear multiple stories of people who really are and really have struggled through this pandemic. Like, there's some very positive stories that's come out of it, and there's some really harrowing stories that have come out of it, right? So please, thank you for being open on the sound table.
You're welcome. It's my honor to, I'm hoping it helps people to know that we're all in the same boat.
Yes. Indeed, and I have a T-shirt on right now, which is from my new sponsor for my show, giving a shameless plug. And the T-shirt says, "Music kept me sane."
Yes.
And to be frank, and I can speak for myself, as a music lover, and an exponent of various festivals and events, and a radio station owner alongside the rest of my team. Like, really, that's the only thing that kept us focused was our music, and kept us thinking that some semblance of normalcy was throw myself into my music and listen to music and listen to what people were doing, and encouraging artists like yourselves to create. Because I think it was very important that you kept your hand in the game, especially those who were very reliant on the live music scene. Like, it's a whole different ball game for them, right? It's like, what do I do now?
Oh, Jason, I was hearing musicians talking about looking for a full-time job. They were going to quit music.
Yeah.
That broke my heart.
Absolutely.
When they've been doing it for so long. One of my friends, and we had a good laugh about this, because he's about 60 years old, and he said, Quiche, my wife and I, we still have a bit of a mortgage, and I need to get a full-time job. And I'm here writing up my resumes, and the last time I worked was at Red Lobster as a waiter in 1988. And we died laughing.
Wow. Red
I said,
Lobster.
you can't put that on your resume, right? You have other skills.
Wow.
Right? So don't put no 1988 Red Lobster, So, but people were willing to quit what they love because they did not see any hope in the future of our industry. And for a lot of us, many artists, they have not touched a microphone or their instrument since March. And if anybody's listening out there who is a musician and an artist, let me encourage you, touch it, pick it up, and do what you love to do, because it will get you through, and there's stuff that you will create out of this that you're going to write some great music.
Yeah, it's a very strange place to be in, and obviously we're supporters of all of you artists, right? So we sometimes look at the current present view, and we kind of look at the future view. So I want to flip this over to Gina, right? Because Gina's, unlike yourself, Quisha, Gina has been very involved with iLive in the past, because she's done some stuff with us, right? So we're in this position now. We know this pandemic isn't going anywhere for at least the next year. Yeah, we're going to be like this. So just looking at what's going on around us, especially with venues closing, what do you see as the medium to long-term impact that's going to have on you as live musicians as you come out the other side of this?
Well, I mean, we've been watching sort of some other online things going on, and I, before I came on here, I was consulting with the rest of the Canadian Black Entertainment folks, just to get their opinions, because we're all producers in this group, and it's been, sure, you can come up with online offerings, but I think it was Lisa that made the point, we're competing with Netflix and other online streaming things that might be a little more exciting, or at least perceived that way. So it's like we're setting ourselves up to be able to be contracted maybe for some corporate gigs that are trying to do online events for their employees or whatever, and trying to get that. It's highly competitive already, and then it's about trying to navigate the platform and who's going to worry about the logistics, and from a producer's perspective, it's like, well, what's feasible? We're trying to all share information. Like, the conversations have turned away from thinking about the show itself to actually compare shopping sites that we can actually use, and what are the latest precautions. It's an ever-changing environment, and now it's becoming highly competitive and a little bit expensive on the platform side. So we're trying to look at, well, what's logistically feasible, where we can still focus on the artistry of the performance, right? Like Quisha knows. And so even the medium and long term, I think it's going to be looking forward to the warmer weather when some outdoor gatherings can recur, and we can be ready to put on a performance that follows those safety precautions with spacing and whatever else. And then I guess just keeping our eyes out for maybe some new venues that might crop up when we're coming on the other side of it. But I think it's going to be kind of tough to forecast that right now because it's still so up in the air. There's no definite end right now. So even venues that are hanging on, who knows for how long, who knows where they're going to be. And I think it's going to take a bit of collective thinking from an infrastructure side, not relying on the artists to look for venues, but like, what is the city supporting? Where are those supports for when they want to bring the entertainment back?
Yeah, and this is where the rubber hits the road, right? You know, what does this look like in 2022? Like if we look at some of the venues that have closed already, the Orbit Room closed, you know, Mod Club closed, you know, Revival, don't know if it's coming back. So a lot of these smaller venues are going to close and they're going to remain closed, right? So you're going to find that some of these property developers are going to jump on the opportunity to buy up these venues and start putting condos up. Like, look what happened to the entertainment district back in 2007, 2008, 2009. Yeah, with a big condo explosion, and next thing you know, by 2010, 11, it was gone. Right. So there's opportunity for condo owners to go in there and pretty much clear out all of those potential venues, right? And what that means for the musician is you have to rethink your strategy, and you're absolutely correct. From a competitive perspective, the online space has become very, very crowded. I mean, we've experienced it as a radio station because, you know, we were one of the few that used to do it and consistently do it. And then all of a sudden, everybody's online and everybody's streaming on every platform. So whatever audience you had or have gets distributed now because there's so much things they can see. So it's definitely going to take a collective strategic effort with multiple partners to be able to present something that's going to be viable, because I believe that even when we do come out of this pandemic, and of course, when you come out the other side, and I say this to every single artist, and I'll say this to you, Gina, and you, Quisha, that when they say we're good, there is going to be an initial explosion, and you will not, you know, up your rate, up what you're charging. You know, if you're charging $500 a gig, jump it to 1,000 because they're going to pay. Because people want to go out and see live music. They want to be around people, want to see people perform. But I do believe that's going to be like a bubble. Because all it's going to take is one thing to happen, and then everyone's going to scurry back to their corners.
I agree. And if you don't mind if I jump in here, there's a couple of things that you just reminded me of. I just had a great conversation about that with another colleague of ours, Derek Roach, because he's been organizing a Facebook sort of movement about the federal support that's out there for artists. And we got talking about rates, you know, because I think there's always going to be the undercutters out there, but we got talking about rates. And I said, you know, even last year, early chats with my favorite musicians that I hire, because I have a couple of go-tos, as you know, like I won't even get out of bed if Jason's not on my gig. But somebody like him who's in demand, and other great musicians, I was like, you know, talking to Lisa, we have to be prepared to pay more when we're doing one of these special shows that we put on. It's not a bar gig that we're doing. And we have to be prepared to up our rate to hold our guys, because we wouldn't blame them, but they're going to start looking for the best rate for each date. And I think it's going to be competitive from that aspect as well.
Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to add, as you started talking about the condo blow up, is there's another side of this. Like with the work from home now, there's this exodus happening where people are moving away from the city, rents are getting cheaper, and they're going to settle outside of the city because they can work remotely. So the question is, are we going to still be performing in Toronto, or are we going to have to look for venues in GTA to bring the show to them? Because are they going to traipse their ass down here and park?
I
don't know, man.
This is the next point I was going to get to.
Yeah.
Was the spread of people now moving out of the city and the opportunities you have outside of Toronto in smaller environments with a better ecosystem and closer community cut ties and connections. Absolutely, you can absolutely do something that's out there, without a doubt. Those are opportunities.
Yeah, like I see entertainment moving out of a core geographical area and starting to crop up a little more, like where there's more than one choice in, say, Mississauga or Richmond Hill or wherever people are running to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think Patrick Morris was going to say something, but I've muted his microphone, so he can't say nothing. It's my show. It's a sound table.
Patrick.
All right, but well, no, I agree. I think that there's definitely going to be a shift, and the shift has happened. I mean, if this pandemic had happened, it was like 6 weeks in length. We came out the other side, we'll be fine. But now we're going to be going into this thing for 2 years, so now you're impacting human behavior. Right now, it's becoming embedded behaviors are now happening. You know, things that you thought about before, you're not even thinking about now, like putting a mask on, or someone comes close to you, you walk away from them. Like, these are things that you're now subconsciously doing, right? So, you know, it's going to be hard to unlearn that stuff. And then there's a certain level of addiction now to these devices that we have, that we consume content in. Versus, for example, right? Versus is a classic example that we're stuck on this phone on Instagram watching these Versus challenges with all these artists, and that's blowing up. Like, we're stuck to these devices and these online streaming and these online entertainment. Is that going to be that easy to break, or do you think you as artists can kind of capitalize on both sides? One foot in the live world, one foot in the streaming world. Do you think there's any value in that?
I do. And Quisha, jump in and cut me off if you want, but I definitely do. In fact, Lisa and I were talking about this the other night as we're planning our website, and another chat group that I have with some other singers. We were talking about the online thing is not going to go away, because now there's some accessibility to broadcast to all corners. You know, people don't mind watching a concert online from the comfort of their home. It's cheaper. They don't have to travel. And now you can see a concert in France that you otherwise wouldn't have access to.
Absolutely.
So I hope it doesn't go away, because I'm happy to broadcast our show anywhere.
But even with that, and I'm sure Quisha would agree that, you know, if you're gonna take that path, it's a completely different strategy, right? In terms of how you market and promote yourself. Like, you have to think global, and you have to do your research, and you have to work out exactly what audience you're going after, and how do you build that community.
Exactly.
Yeah, then the community build piece, I think, is going to be really, really, really important for all artists now. And this is where we can now introduce this concept of Collective Music Nation. So, seeing as you're both connected to this organization, and we've had dealings with them, and like I said, we play their ad on our station to help promote the platform. Can you guys tell me a little bit, without giving away too much, because I know you've got some big things up your sleeves, what Collective Music Nation is and what it's trying to actually do?
Go ahead, G.
Listen, I'm deferring to the vice president on that. All I can say is, from a director perspective, it's going to be awesome. And there's a lot of stuff that's already available for artists right now. But I think that Quisha should speak for CMN right now.
All right, I'll talk then.
Come on, Quisha.
As vice president. So this started up by the wonderful Tim Frey. He really does have a heart for music, especially Black artists. As he has been a part of some award-winning groups growing up, he has noticed the decline in the music industry's support of Black artists, and there's a difference between Black artists and Black music, because we do know that there are different races doing Black music and being put in those categories. So he is looking at taking care of Black artists the way we feel they should be taken care of, by offering resources for them so that they are successful in their art form. And so we have quite a few things happening. There's going to be a Hall of Fame that's going to be launched for this June. All that will be virtual, of course. Plans are in the works for Collective Music Nation's Music Awards night, and also Collective Music Nation's Music Week. We also are working on an educational camp for budding artists. We have so many different areas that are going to help our artists. There's even a studio, quite a few studios and rehearsal halls that will be available for Collective Music Nation members. And right now, it actually is free for artists to sign up. So I would tell you right now, if you're listening, sign up, go to Collective Music Nation, there's no S.com, and sign up. We also have benefits for artists, because we know that many artists do not have that luxury of being able to go to the dentist or get prescription drugs at a discount. And so there is a way by signing up, and there is, it's going through AFBS, which is affiliated with ACTRA, which is a union for actors. So it just launched about 7 months ago, and big things are happening.
Okay. All very interesting. Okay, so I want to kind of dissect some of the stuff. Because we actually had an interview. I actually had an interview with Tim Frey when they were Urban Music Nation, before they changed their name and the whole urban thing became a thing. Okay, so when he changed his name to Collective Music Nation. So we had a very interesting interview on my other radio show I do on Sundays. And I think what he's doing is admirable. The question I have is, and this is not, this is, you can answer this any way you want. Is it actually sustainable in a Canadian market, that overall music market that doesn't support black music?
That's a great question. I believe it is, if we come together and support each other. And we need a foundation. And I think that the foundation that was made for us is not a strong foundation, because it's not for us, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
With all the different record labels, no offense, but it really isn't for us, and it never has been for many decades. So what Tim is trying to do is pull us all together, and I think this is the right time with the whole Black Lives Matter movement happening. It is bringing companies and organizations aware of the need to drive equality, and to see that there is a problem within our world, and we need to fix it. Now, as we all know, there's people out there that think there is no problem, but for the most part, people do see that there is a problem. So there's grants out there. There are now labels that are hiring more black people. Even I was on a webinar with Ontario Presents, which deals with all the theaters, booking agents who book acts across Ontario. And they had a big forum about the issues that Black and Indigenous people have within this industry. And for me, my personal experience has been, I have gone to an Ontario Presents where it's a weekend long presentation. You get to see other acts. And I remember sitting in the theater, and out of all the people who were showcasing on that stage, it was all bluegrass or folk music.
Right.
And there was only one black man that performed, and he did a monologue. But there was nothing musically that connected to black people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been rejected on many times for an Ontario Presents to showcase. Why is that? So what Tim is doing with Collective Music Nation is to build that foundation, a strong foundation, and already we do have quite a few companies that are willing to support. And so it's a start. We have to start somewhere.
No, and I agree. I completely agree. You know, I'm a person, and I'm sure Patrick Morris agrees with me as well, that, you know, we like to look medium and long term, and I think that in the long run, I think it's going to be beneficial in terms of trying to find that musical identity for black artists, or people, or should I say, not say black artists, let's do this. People that make music of black origin. Let's put it that way, all right? Or black music. in this country, because this is, this is a bluegrass country and rock nation of 34 million people, and which I don't like to say urban, but people that might be into black music of black origin will wake up like 5 or 6% of the total population, if you're lucky. So, there's not a lot of room for error, and there's not a lot of room to grow in the short term, but definitely in the long term. So putting those things in place absolutely is the right thing to do. I also believe that now the idea of the record label having a stranglehold on your industry is now gone, because you have the internet and you have independent distribution models. So to me, it's doing an award ceremony is great. Doing a workshop is fantastic, right? Having a label is better. Having a digital distribution platform for music of black origin from Canada is better. These are foundational pieces that you build on, right? So engaging black radio is essential.
Yes.
I'm not talking about black programming on normal radio, that 1 or 2 shows that might play your stuff. We're talking about black radio in Toronto.
Yeah.
And in Canada, across the board. Yeah, and there's opportunities there to build out similar radio stations that play music of black origin or indigenous music exclusively, because we have the internet now. So there's a platform for it. So I think that, and it's something I said to Tim when we had our conversation, is that I get building the mansion building. It looks great, but what's the foundational piece look like? How do you build up that foundational piece? That means that there's a strong distribution chain that goes through Canada from one coast to the other. Or how do you build up, that community engagement within each one of those population centers where people might like your music? That community that you build is going to support the music that you play. You have to have an outlet for that.
That's right.
You have to have a tour that goes from one coast to the other. Yeah, highlighting that music. So so there's lots and lots of strings and bows to this, right? So I've always been very interested. I do watch all the press releases and go onto Collective Music Nation quite a lot to find out what you guys are kind of doing. And I think it's admirable. I think it's fantastic. Obviously, my whole argument behind this is that the reason why it's so difficult in Canada to build something like this is because there's no such thing as Canadian black culture here.
Right.
Indigenous black culture here.
Right, but we're gonna make it.
Yeah, and this is it. And the thing is, and I say this because, and I think I've had this conversation with you before, Gina. I say this because I'm from England, obviously. When we migrated to the UK, we were cut off from our homeland. We couldn't go back to the Caribbean, and go hang out or go there for the summer or go there for 6 weeks or 2 weeks off. We were cut off in the 60s. And so the generation that was born into England only knew being black in England, but we knew we were different to everybody else, so we built our own culture. And then we just adopted some of the music and the lifestyle and the fashion and created our own stuff. It's a little bit different in Canada because there's always this really strong connection to back home. So generationally, there's a connection to back home, and that moment when you create something from your own Canadian black culture, sometime in the future, is when that generation doesn't really have that connection to Trinidad or Jamaica or, going back home every single year for Carnival and all that kind of stuff. As long as you've got that strong connection, you're never going to break that bond, right? And do that creative piece. So it's going to be interesting. And I think that what Tim and your organization is doing is going to be great in the medium to long term. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, we recognize it's going to be a long road, but somebody's got to break ground, and he's doing it, definitely.
Yeah, I think the thing I like is hearing, you're talking about the cross-country tours. That's another piece of Tim's plan is, he has venues across Canada, and it's designed to, like, one of his whole plans is the whole artist development from A to Z, including recording and rehearsing and then performing live and doing showcases that are all supported to build those communities, and including the education camps that they're thinking about, that's also not just here. That's supposed to take place in some centers across Canada. So what I was inspired by listening to him describe all these plans that sounded fantastic was it's not just his level of enthusiasm and the way that he's strategically laid all this out. It's he's making decisions now. Like, it's not like we're going to plan to maybe do this someday. He's got actual plans and is putting things in motion as we speak and is in the position to decide, not waiting for other people to decide, you know. And I think that's what really lit the fire for me. I was like, I want to be part of this because it's moving. So I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I'm gonna be, once again, and Patrick's gonna look at me and give me a dirty look now. That there's a certain level of, no offense, there's a certain level of apathy in Canada. Yeah, that there's a certain level of real apathy in Canada, especially the amount of sheer talent you guys have got. Like I'm an outsider, will always be an outsider. You know, I invest in your artistic community, and I see the talent and I see the ability, the potential, and I'm almost always disappointed because of there's a general lack of either apathy or entitlement. Those are the two big words for me. And it's not the fault of the artist or the fault of that particular artist. It's just the way the culture's been built, right? So, you know, you've got all this talent that sits there, which is like some of the best bands. Like, you know, The Recipe to me is the best band I've ever heard.
Right.
I'm gonna say it straight, right? And I proved that when I sent them to England, and they blew it up, right? So they're the best band you're ever gonna hear play. Yeah, but they should be bigger and more widespread than they are, right? And some of that's down to support. Some of that's down to it's kind of like we're not sure what we want to do, you know. And I'll be very frank. Like Omar knows, I'm very honest when I talk about this stuff, and I'll talk about this stuff with them all the time. And there's this sometimes there's fear. Sometimes there's fear of going outside of what you know. Because, you know, once you are in this city and you know you can do within the city, this is sometimes just good enough for some people. You know, but with everything that Tim's building and building this whole infrastructure in place, at some point, money has to come in and these artists have to sell their music outside of this country because there's no money here for them to make no money for them to make any money here.
Right.
So building something that's considered to be identifiably Canadian in terms of musical style or culture or identity is a selling point for outside of Canada.
Absolutely.
Not the adoption of, you know, we want to sell so we get recognized by the US, because once the US gets hold of your artists, they're sold everywhere else in the world as an Americanized.
Right.
With the exception of Drake. And Drake's an anomaly, that's why I say. Yeah, but they don't care that he's from the T-Dot. They just see him as Drake,
right,
and OVO, right? But that whole Canadian identity, in terms of when it comes to music of black origin and the kind of stuff that you guys are doing, it's really, really important. At some point in the next 2 to 3 years or 4 years, that's carved out, so everyone knows when they hear that, they know it's Canadian from outside Canada, and start to recognize it as good and Canadian. One of our remits, and this is what we've been doing for the last 2 years, is that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been saying there's great musicians here in Canada that put out great music, and we keep pushing it to Europe and to the Far East. And opportunities have come that way, and now people are starting to recognize as Canadian artists, and there's talent in Canada. So, you know, some of us who do some foundation building, you know, we continue to support Collective Music Nation. Will continue to support all of the people that do events, etc., and start talking about them outside the auspices of this city or this country, because we want people to come here and pick you up as resources. We want people to come here to come and see you perform.
Right.
Yeah, you want people to pick you up. Yeah, absolutely. You want people to pick you up and take you south. Like, it's only the only reason that you haven't gone south yet, Gina P, with the DMV is because of the pandemic.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, but you know, it's because, you know, we draw those people up so they can see what you guys do, so you guys can go back, All right.
Exactly. And then I was making some connections there as well. And then I
Yeah.
connected them to each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
I'm ready.
That's how it's supposed to be. So, so from our side, on my side, I think is great what you guys are doing, and obviously we're going to be fully supportive of it. So we've got 10 minutes to the top of the hour. It's been less controversial than I thought. They're way too nice, Patrick. Like, it's really hard to pinpoint something and just gut them.
Wow. Well, if you want to make fun of me for not having my music finished yet, you can do that.
Oh, we're not about to.
Because I've been writing as well, which is something I wouldn't have had time to do this summer.
You stay writing, darling.
I will.
Yeah, no, you stay writing. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
No. I actually have. I'm further along than last time we checked in.
Really? Well, you've got a
Yes.
chorus and a verse now.
Stop. I have like 5 songs written, and I'm getting help from who I think is one of the best songwriters that I know.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, name him.
Omar Lunan.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Whatever.
He's pretty good.
Now you're trying to fight.
No, I'm not trying to fight. He's pretty good.
He's a
pretty
great songwriter.
I would say he's a fantastic vocal arranger.
He is that too.
Yeah, thank you. He's great. He's great at lyrics. Like he can write a song. Right. When it comes to arrangements,
with his vocals.
yeah, vocal arrangement though, man. Like
Yeah.
when we did the Soulfest retreat, which you guys never came to, out in Antigua.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like
You
I
know why
said,
though.
you guys never came to a retreat out in Antigua that we put on.
That is hilarious.
I know.
Then
Just roasting us.
absolutely. Why? That's opportunities.
Well-
We're missing that. A great opportunity it was. It was a great time. But one thing,
Yeah.
one great thing about what Omar did was he galvanized the troops, and he really started to work them. Like we did like the workshop, not the workshop. We did exercises and stuff, and you could see he's got that leadership quality, right? And when it came to the arrangement stuff, is like, oh,
Yeah. I watched all the streams.
oh, you did?
I did. Of course I did.
Oh, I don't know.
So she was technically there.
I'm
wasn't
always
technically there.
supporting you guys.
Isn't technically there. You should be supporting yourself, and should have been there, Gina P.
You do know that you guys booked me to do a show here on the same date.
Oh,
That's not our
That's-
fault. You should have
it's
turned it
the
down.
reason.
You should have turned it down.
should have turned.
I should have
it
turned down my solo show that you guys
Yeah.
booked me.
Yeah. You should have done
Talk
that.
to Patrick.
You should have done that.
was only able to book her because she was here.
Yeah, exactly. He would only book you because you didn't commit to
You-
coming.
You didn't invite me.
I have
But
to
I know
invite
you're
you.
fixing that.
You have to, I didn't invite you.
No.
You do know that we're just an email away, right? Once you get rumor of it or sniff of it, you should have said, "Hey, I want to come down."
I did, but by then I had the show.
Then make a choice. You hear this,
Really,
Quisha?
guys?
You hear this, Quisha?
I'm
Keisha
listening.
wasn't invited either.
Because Quisha doesn't even send her music. Like, what the hell?
Anyway.
I
See
will
how he
send
does.
it tonight.
Keisha, send it to music@iliveradio.com.
Music at iLive.
Radio.com. Send it there.
Done.
And if it's really good, I'll send it overseas.
Wow. If. As if.
If it's
The
really
pressure
good,
is on.
if
You
it's
know what,
really
Keisha?
good, I'll send it
If he
overseas.
doesn't, I will, because I know the same people. It's going there. Whatever.
No, you don't know the same people.
I can write Jarzino too.
Jarzino's not the person I sent it to.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, see?
We'll still send it to him.
First of all, remember, Jarzino's in the same network as us. He just runs the UK version, the UK
Yes.
arm of iLive.
Yes.
So we did do that with Jusso, Shrisha, with Jusso, with her track she put out. She's like you, Gina, very reluctant artist, very reluctant. And the mistake she made was she put something out quietly on SoundCloud, and I was like, oh, this is really good. Because I finally put something out. Just gonna stick it on my SoundCloud. I said, oh, so do you mind if I send it overseas? I think they'll like it. Yeah, that was a mistake.
Why?
Why?
Why? Because she got to number 6 in the UK soul charts, and now all hell's breaking loose.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all hell,
Why do you think I'm reluctant though?
But all hell is breaking loose. The poor girl wants to just sit down and make music. Now she's got people hitting her up. They want drops. They want more music.
It's amazing.
We put out another
That's
one.
great. She could always say no.
She can. But she
I wish I had that
she
problem.
She just put out another one. She's putting out another one on February the 1st and putting out another one on March the 1st.
Amazing.
Oh, fabulous.
That's wonderful.
So that's how quickly it can turn around, Quisha.
Yeah.
So send me your stuff, and we could turn it around. Next thing you know, you're charting in the US, you're charting in the UK. That's how it connects.
This song is definitely. I wanted it launched before Black History Month, Black Shoes, because it's a song to honor all those who have died due to police brutality. And Black Shoes is metaphorically written to bring to focus the issues that people of color have faced since slavery to present.
Sounds great.
It is our hope that this song will raise questions and understanding as we continue to strive for positive changes within government institutions to bring equality for all.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's an amazing breakdown of your music.
Thank you.
You really thought about that, eh?
I did.
So I want to ask you this: what style of music is it? Is it contemporary?
I would call it almost like neo soul, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott type of vibe.
Send it! I'm about to make you famous. Send it.
And then, even maybe a little bit of an Anita Baker in it as well.
Okay.
And Layla Hathaway. Those are the four I would mix into this tune.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's the four.
Just send it.
I will send.
But don't blame me when whatever happens. Don't blame me. Okay.
I appreciate you.
Well, we're about to wind up the show. So thank you so much for joining us on the sound table. I hope you enjoyed your experience. I hope I wasn't too rude. I tried to pull it in this time, Gina. Cause I knew
that's evident.
You're not rude.
And I do appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure that I wasn't my usual self. I'm trying to be a nicer, kinder Jason these days.
Oh, well, you're keeping the white wine tap on. So
yes, and I can't even do the white wine anymore, Gina. So yeah, it's unfortunate. But thank you, ladies, and I hope you have a great night. Quisha, send us the music. I expect it in my inbox.
I'll send it right now.
All right,
thank you so
we're
much.
gonna give it some play. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Bye. All right, that was the sound table with Gina P and Quisha Wint. That was a good conversation, Patrick. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a very good conversation.
All right, so your thoughts? What do you think about what was being said? And talk up, Richard, because you're going like.
Oh, sorry,
you can't hear nobody again.
Trying to get close to the mic.
Yeah, sexy voice.
No, I think it was a good conversation. The thing that surprises me is, we've been around for almost 6 years now, and
don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say we've been doing what they've been doing, about to do, and no, everyone looked at us like we're stupid and didn't support nothing. Don't say it.
No. That's actually not what I was gonna say.
Okay, but that's what I said.
I know that's what you said. That's a whole nother topic for another time. But what I was gonna say is, it's like, we put the word out there: send us your music, send us your music, send us your music, and it's like almost some people do, but a lot of times it's almost like we've got to beg people to send us their music when we play music. We're looking to support the independent artists, the people who are not getting played on the terrestrial mainstream radio station, that are not the top, 100 songs that are being played on regular radio. We're like, we want good music. And that's the thing that bugs me a lot.
Well, we're about to get Quisha's music, and we're about to make Quisha's music famous, all right?
Well, I hope she sends it.
She'll send it, don't worry. If not, I'm going to be on her. All right, so this has been the Sound Table. Next week, we have Beat Child in the studio. Just about to release his instrumental album. We're going to talk a little bit about himself, what he's been doing since the pandemic, and his association that he's trying to build. Just talk Soul Movement 3. It should be cool.
Yeah.
All right, we out. This has been the Sound Table, sponsored by French Penny. Look out for French Penny. Shouts out to the whole of the French Penny team. Music kept me sane. Good night. God bless.
This is Felicia Temple, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hi, I'm urban Christian artist Gayla James, and you're listening to iLive Radio.